a hit, and Pluto knows what Pluto is, and Pluto knows that Pluto's hot shit. Pluto knows it.
I won't ever be a planet, it don't matter, 'cause I know that I'm still
hot shit.
And you're hot shit too, so get out of your brain and just do what you're supposed to do.
Hot shit. Pluto knows it. Expect some fucking magic on the 12th planet. Hot shit.
And you're hot shit too, so get out of your way and just do what you were born to do.
Thought Pluto got wise and said, gosh dang it, it's true Pluto was jealous of them big other planets. But did you know that Jupiter, the biggest by far, was also jealous 'cause the dorks on Earth called him a failed star. The star that he was jealous of was cold, our sun, who was herself consumed with thoughts that she would never become a big black hole. She would constantly chase the dream to be so big that she could eat time and space. A trillion miles away, a place the sun could not see. There sat a bad bitch sucking up reality, who turned her gaze into the center of our galaxy and says, when I'm supermassive, yeah, I'll be happy. But the biggest, baddest, supermassive thing to exist spun in the middle of them all and said, I think I'm seeing shit. I've seen a perfect prototype, I've seen a triple quasar, but I've never seen a dwarf planet go this hard. Hot shit, and you know Pluto knows it.
I don't need to be a planet, 'cause I know that I'm so worth it, baby.
Hot shit.
And you're hot shit too, so stop doubting yourself and just feel this cosmic
Hot shit, you know Pluto knows it. Expect some fucking naughty from this heavenly party. Hot shit.
And you're hot shit too, so look up to the stars. The universe is waiting for you.
Now and then I get the thought that stops me in my tracks. Am I talking about space too much? I should really try to cut back.
I've gotta stop with that shit, 'cause I'm pop.
Space is fucking cool, so are you? Have you let me talk about space with you? Hot shit. I won't ever be an astronaut, but I'm still hot like Halley's Comet. And you're hot shit too, so let's shoot for the stars. I bet we land on the moon. Do you like my space metaphor? Would you like to know what I use it for? To prove to you that you are hot shit too. Now get out of my room and show this planet what hot shit do.
Hot shit.
Please take a seat.
Never really done this before.
That's okay. Just tell me the first thing that comes into your head.
Okay. Dolphins dressed in monocles with tiny top hats that cover up their blowholes. Clouds with faces, but they're upside down, so it looks like their rain is hair. Santa Claus going down a chimney, but the chimney is a cigarette and the house is a man. Bowling balls made out of peanut butter, but they're the bubbles in a big rubber hubba bubba bubble buzz. My God, you got a beautiful mind. I know, so sit back and enjoy the show. How did we both end up here? I don't know. I don't care. So come on, let's get it on. Doctor holding a big bottle of tonic, but the bottle's full of rings and the doctor is Sonic. Jimmy Fallon with a hat on. Jimmy Fallon with a hat on. Man full of jelly, but the jelly full of ham. Baby with two wheels instead of hands. Doctor, doctor, is there something wrong with me? Give it to me straight, doc. What do you see?
And the award for best psychiatrist goes to
Doctor!
Beagles eating bugles while a poodle plays the flugelhorn. 44 and foraging for mushrooms in an ice storm. Big pies with big eyes and big thighs. Anaconda in a condescending disguise. Sandra Bullock, specifically from Speed 2, fighting with my best friend's aunt at a barbecue. A frog doing his taxes while he sits on a swing. But that's just what I see.
I could see the same thing.
Hello. We'll play a game. Hope everyone's having a nice weekend. This is not a game we're gonna like stick with for a long period of time. This is a one-off. But I remember I played this game when it came out. I never finished it. So I thought, hey, why not start a new game of it? Mess about a little bit. It'll be fun. Let's see what chat's saying. Archer's still sick, congested, not good for sleep. Yeah, that's annoying. I hate when that happens. I had that 2 weeks ago, where I was just coughing, nose was all fucked, couldn't sleep properly. It was a nightmare. Like, the actual sickness wasn't even that bad. It was just, I felt way worse because I hadn't been sleeping as a result of it, which wasn't good. Clock's changing, also missed. Yeah, I actually didn't even notice the clock's moving. I completely didn't notice. Montaigne was on the Human Centipede song and Vid, and it's hilarious. That's true. Montaigne is fantastic. I also love that 2 of the podcasts I listen to now have theme songs done by Montaigne, because she just likes doing theme songs for comedy podcasts. It's pretty funny. Hyper aware of your time change because time zone difference, waiting for ages. More aware of daylight savings than people actually living there. Yeah, true. True. I mean, I didn't notice. Right. If you haven't seen this game before, and also let me know how the audio is. I think it's quite quiet in this menu anyway, but we'll see when we get into it. If you haven't seen this game before, it's a puzzle game that's made to look like kind of like those kind of like instructional like safety videos and stuff. This is made by Nintendo, published by Nintendo. It's weird because it's like a full-blown Nintendo release, and that I feel like it didn't get a huge amount of attention because they just chucked it out one day and it was like, all right, but it's really fun. It's also a game about nepotism. Montaigne does have an incredible voice, you're right. Guess Nepo baby getting a job at their parents' company. But at least he has to start from the bottom. So if you've never seen this game, it's like a weird kind of physicsy puzzle game. It's very cute. Never be about hard mode, yeah, exactly. So like we can just like pick stuff up. You unblock this vending machine. Oh wait, I should be able to take this plug. Oh, I think this is too close. So it won't. Oh, here we go. Oh, it doesn't extend back. Oh no, it does. You bring us over here. Oh my god, get away. Move your chair out of the way. What about we're watching? I suspect she's not watching my streams. If she is, I'm gonna send her that video about why it's incredibly stupid that she drinks alkaline water with lemon Like, alkaline water is a scam at the best of times, and the fact that she adds an acid to it, it's incredibly funny. Anyway, this is this game. It's all this kind of dumb physicsy stuff. I think there's a throw button. Maybe not. Right. Let's get our clothes. Let's get our morning coffee. Let's go work. Oh. Well, let's put our coffee down. It's genius. It makes neutral water. Yeah. Let's go floor 1. We're starting in finance. Get some half asleep morning cashy as opposed to half asleep evening cashy. Alright. Let's go into the finance department. Get out of my way. Into legal. Oh, I took my coffee cup away. Alright, we need to set up a new projector because the other projector exploded. Get to work. Wait, what's the shiny thing? Oh god. What is this? Alright, we have we have these little antenna instead now. Yeah, this is definitely not a safe workplace. So the way this game works is you have like a timer at the top, which doesn't really matter, and there's a at the top right there's a like counter of all the things you've broken. And technically you lose money depending on the amount of things you break, but it also kinda doesn't matter. We're not going in for a high score or anything here, we're just gonna fuck about. So let's unplug this projector. And let's just take it to where it needs to go. Alright, we can't get through that door, that door's too small. So we gotta take it through here. Don't mind me. Is this open? Get your chair out the way. Also breaking everything to fix one thing, call it a good job is very funny. Exactly. Exactly. That is this game. Alright, this doesn't seem to open. Oh, I didn't. Oops. Don't mind me. Just doing stuff. Let's see, what can we do? Definitely doesn't fit through this door, right? Alright, we're stumped at the first hurdle. Here's my plan. We build up some speed and we just get through there. Most reason. Yep. Actually, you know what? Here's the plan. Oh wait, we opened the door over there. Is there another door over here we can get it through? Nah, there's nothing on this side. I guess that means there's a power thing that opens that door. I was going to do something stupid, but let's be smart for a second. And take this power cable down here. Into here. That's fine. That was like that when we got here. He's screaming at seeing the fix here. How's the fix? Oh, there's a power cable down there. I see the fix. I didn't notice the power cable. I forgot about the power cable that we put the projector on already. Alright. There we go. We didn't cause any damage on the way. Oh my god, it doesn't even want to go through the door. Come on. Right, let's go. We're geniuses. Oh, what's this over here? There's some shinies. Get out the way. I want the shiny. Alright, we have a fanny pack now. Now, the correct way is obviously to open these doors. But there is another way you can do this. Let me show you how the physics work in this game. Let's just keep going. Perfect. Projector is where it needs to go. Let's point it in the right direction. And let's plug it in. We did a good job. Why didn't they market this? I don't know. There we go, we did a good job. It's really fun, and it is pretty simple. It gets a bit more complicated later on, but it usually tries to be like it's not very punishing in any way. As long as you get the job done, it doesn't really matter if you smash a bunch of shit. Like, I'm sure there's some reward for it, but really, from what I played this game, it feels very much like, just have fun with it, you know? I never finished this game. I think I got to like floor 4. I want to say there's like 8. Maybe 6. Oh, right there. Alright, we gotta reroute the internet. Classic office situation. Right. Let's see. So, first of all, we have to get these cat ears, because of course we do. Oh no, it's just antenna again. There's different color. Okay. They look like cat ears to me. Oh my god. Go through the door. I might have a slight amount of input delay. I think I want this guy's hat. Oh. Give me your hat. Okay, fine. So we need to move this internet cable all the way through. This. Alright, obviously we need some power to this door. Maybe stop the potential fire hazard first. Nah, that's fine. Where's the internet thing? Probably should check where I was taking it first, but who cares about that? Okay, that's fine. This is a normal, safe way. Oh no, it's not a safe way. We need this door open at all times. You sit here. Alright, let's take this all the way through here. Yep, through here. This is... No, wait, not through here. Alright, we need to pass this queue of people that are waiting for the bathroom. The bathroom is currently... broken. So let's go fix the bathroom. What's the power cable do? Turns the lights on. I want this. Alright, we've got like a Viking shield. Which makes sense because that guy had that helmet. I mean, I don't know why it makes sense because we're in an office. This is the... I forget which department this is. Get out here. Right, we gotta clean this bathroom. Fine. Move this mop over here. We got barfly wings. Oh, this thing's fine. I can't get up. There we go. Okay. Let's move this sign out of the way. There you go. Yeah, everyone have fun using the bathroom. And then we will safely route this cable. Oh, we were so close. We're so close. We need a person. We're full springtime. I saw so many parent birds floating. Again, worms for baby birds. That's pretty good. Only our girls seem to have left so far. Oh god. Right. You hang out here. No! Hang out here. Keep the door open for me. And then we did it. We fixed the internet. We safely routed this cable through the office. If you've ever worked in, like, IT and networking, you know exactly that this is how you route a cable through an office. So yeah, that's kind of this game. It gets incredibly silly, but it's very fun. If pigeons on my roof, pigeons are pals. Yeah, I like pigeons. Pigeons are alright. Seagulls, though, I'm not as fond of. Seagulls are assholes. Percent accurate to real? Yeah, this is basically a tutorial. For a while, my girlfriend had a little bird feeder on our windowsill, and we eventually took it down because, like, it was kind of just caused a mess. It was not good. But there was a crow that used to eat stuff out of that bird feeder, and then the moment she took it down, it started pecking our window looking for food. And we're like, what do we do? It eventually just went away. It was eventually like, alright, I'm not getting anything doing this. But for a bit, it would just come up at the same time of day. It would usually get food from the bird feeder and would just like peck at our window like, come on, where's my fucking food? This is lunchtime. This is where I go. Right, we need to gather all the workers. So we need to move this guy. Get everyone into look. This is classic office issue, you know. You gotta get everyone into a fucking meeting. No one wants to get into a meeting. I see the issue here. I see the issue here. Also, I like that this guy's supposedly sitting at work, but he's sitting playing a Switch. You can see that on his desk. And now I'm gonna sit and play a Switch instead. This is what he gets. They're smart, so they know you have food too. I like that. Yeah. Crows around here are too well fed. They don't fuss with food most of it. Yeah. Crows are smart and have like a good memory. So, yeah. They ignore people feeding them. That's pretty good. Alright, we need to get this guy past here. Obviously, there's a cable here. So we can't just grab him and move him. So, is there no cable we can bring in? Can we move him up here? No. Can we just launch him? Oh, that just... Well, I got rid of his chair at least. I need you to move though. Can I get him back on a chair? Buddy, sit down. There you go. Let's get you out of here. Into the meeting. If you've ever tried to get people to attend a meeting, very accurate to life. Alright, 4 more. People sometimes give crows puzzle feeders because they're super clever. They seem to actually enjoy playing with things. Yeah, crows are smart. They also, like, famously, obviously, use tools. A lot of birds do not. Like if they're trying to get food out of something, they'll like grab a stick and poke at it, which is impressive. I know a lot of humans that aren't smart enough to do that. Give me this. Oh god. Come on. Come on. Oh, this is too heavy. I just want the thing that's on top of it. I think it's just another fanny pack. You come with me. Get a chair. Get on the chair. It seems like the easiest way to do it is just grab a chair and just drag him along. Birds in general are smarter than people give them credit for. True. Even pigeons can learn how to train will work. Yeah, I mean pigeons famously, you know, used for messaging because they're smart enough for that kind of thing. Welcome in, Pokemonica. How's it going? I don't know why I said Pokemonica and just say Monica, but I decided to say your full username today. I like your TOS stream post joke, by the way. Thank you. I thought it was silly. Right, we need this guy. Right, I've got a plan. We'll get him there quickly. You come over here. Get this door we can't open yet. Honestly, the solution to every puzzle in this game is launch them. I'm sure there's actual solutions to the puzzles, but launch them's the best solution to the problems. Oh, this guy doesn't. Oh, he does not want to. That's not what I wanted to do. Perfect. Get you to that meeting. Right, into the meeting. Oh, no. Hold on, let's move this useless whiteboard out of the way. You can get in the meeting. Imagine if you like asked someone to go collect people for a meeting and then they suddenly just smashed a wall down and started pulling people in. This explains open plan workspaces exactly. Good job, we did it. Alright, let's see what chat says. Feeling like people holding on. Oh yeah, man, weren't you meant to be streaming earlier, but you're not feeling good? Is that right? Am I misremembering that? The Pro and Protomia stands for Pro Jokester. Exactly. Exactly. I do also hope it passes quickly, Mon. Also have some strength and voted earlier, so I count as a productive day. That is a productive day. Voting free for 3 months now. Try kick the habit of voting. Alright, let's go to the auditorium. So, what do we do? Set up the projector. Just set up the projector, okay. But this is a big, look at this, this is a big thing. Oh, whoops. Don't mind me. Just going down and see the layout of everything. It's a big, fancy event. This guy must be the speaker for the event. I'm all over. Look, I'm probably gonna fire projectors through them all, so we'll see. It'll happen. Oh wait, what's the shiny here? What's... Give me this. No, no, no. Give me the... Let me grab the... Let's just take everything off this. Come on. Give me... Get the way. Come on. Let me shimmy this. Oh, I had like a lot of momentum, then I lost it all. Alright, here's new plan. Same as the old plan. Oh, that didn't work well. Clearly need a bit more of a pull. Give me the hat. I got everything except the shiny, you're right. Okay. Move this slightly. I've been told we're a family here, no bonuses but piece of it, yeah. This auditorium has been set up as a, like, hey, I know we just laid off 200 people, but here's a gig from, like, the famous artist. Alright, this does not... There we go. All that, and we finally get our hat. Because we're geniuses. We graduated. Oh, that one seemed important. Let's plug that back in. Alright, let's go get the projector. The projector was up here, I think. Don't mind me. I'm just walking up here. There used to be a wall there. I don't know if that's true. I never saw a wall there. Oh, wait. This is the wrong door. I go up the stairs. You guys get out of the way. You're probably going to want to get out of the way. I'll tell you what. Let me help you. You don't want to mess this. You guys sit down. Alright, that door's closed. There's our projector in this locked door. So we unplug that, it closes these doors. That one opens those doors. There's a door here. This one do. Just turn off the lights. Fuck up. Who cares about lights? Not me. It's nice of you to open them. See, exactly. I'm helping them. They were going to have to stand there the whole time otherwise. Right. Now let's. We're obviously in a rush. We need this projector pretty quickly. Oh my god. Nope. Nope, I want the... Sometimes things can be a little bit finicky. It's not compulsory to be pissed if you don't go. Yeah, exactly. Oh, we need this door open though. Well, obviously we just need this. We need to build this through. Build this through. We'll just plug this into here. We'll just, you know, pull as far as it'll go. You hang out here for a minute. Unplug this. Plug that in there. Not what I wanted. Oh no. Perfect. Oh no. Oh, perfect. There's no... There we go. I need to move this table out of the way. You stay here. There's a lot of setup for something that's going to cause a lot of disaster, hopefully. It's going to be real funny when this does nothing. When it like hits the benches and just stops. Let me get out. table all the way in here. I'm stuck behind this table. Right, here we go. Let's see if this works. Let's try to get that projector down there pretty quickly. Alright, first failure. Perfect. Alright, what we got? I said I had a thing at work tomorrow, and Dad said that was a compulsory. I said it's strongly advised. Alright, perfect. We got this projector down here easily. And we barely caused any trouble. I watched the Five Nights at Freddy's movie yesterday on my Magic website for silly fun. I actually think it's pretty nice. Good laughs, nice lore for people in the story. That's pretty cool. I've heard very little good about it, so... Right, these guys are in the way. So it's good to hear someone positive about it. The main thing I've heard about it is that very little of it actually takes place in the oh my god, those guys don't know how to sit on chairs. Like in the Five Nights at Freddy's place, like in the pizzeria. It's silly and PG-13. It's not in the UK. In the UK, it's a 15, which seems like a bizarrely stupid move on their part. Lights are out, but projectors on. That's the important thing. It's also facing the wrong direction, but that's fine. We nailed it. Look at that, we're getting promoted already. No longer in the lowly legal department. Or finance department, sorry. Time to go to logistics. They just said get the projector, doesn't need to be faced a certain way. Exactly. Yeah. They also didn't say that they needed any power in the rest of the room. I unplugged the power for the room to be able to power the projector. They only wanted the projector. Alright. Oh, is that like... Sort the containers. Oh, we get to use the crane in this one. The crane's fun. Okay. That looks like one of those neck pillows that you get for like on flights and stuff. I was hoping I could just like... Oh, maybe I can. I was hoping I could just like Jenga this whole stack. Oh, come on. Oh, yeah. Come on. Come on, you can do it. Come on. You can do it. It really doesn't want to fall over. Perfect. Give me that neck pillow. Perfect. We can just push this one. We don't need a crane for this one, right? Oh no, it's too heavy. Okay. That makes sense. Let's see. So we have a green one, we have a purple one. There's a crown up there. I don't know how we're going to get that one. Letting this guy use a crane seems like a bad idea. Peak Nepo baby behavior can only fail upwards. Yeah, definitely. Letting this guy turn office seems like a bad idea. Yes. I agree with both of you. Right, there's another purple one here. Green one under here. This just seems to be a big space for anything. So the purples go here, greens go over the other side. It looks like there's a purple inside that one there as well. Oh, hold on a minute. I need to sneeze. Alright, sneeze happened. Looks like we can smash stuff here. Partners' work involves chemistry in labs and they have unqualified nepo baby. Yeah, that always happens. One of my previous jobs, it wasn't nepo babies, it was ex-military people. And this is not a criticism of ex-military people in general, to be clear, but at that job, the guy that founded the company was ex-military, and he kept hiring a bunch of unqualified ex-military people to do stuff. And they were just unqualified for it. And it's like, I get why you're doing this, but they don't have the skills for the job that you're hiring them for. And then that company like went under, so. Yeah, it was not the smartest plan. Right, we need this purple one all the way over here. Yeah, that's fine. I think we can actually just carry that purple one ourselves, but yeah, let's move this purple one over here into the purple section. I think we're doing good so far. Right, that's fine. I was like that when we got here. Let's put this here. We need this green one out of here. Okay, we need that hat as well. Let's move this over here. Yep, it's fine. Yep, fine. We're going to... Right, you need this out of the way. I'm pretty good at using the crane, I think. That's fine. Oh no, it's not fine, it's blocking our way, but we'll get there. This isn't we bought kitchen appliance on Amazon to do toxic things, the results were not good. Oh no. Drop this on here, will that smash it? No. We need this purple one. There we go. Perfect. You come over here. You need to sit nice and neatly. Perfect. Neatly placed. We're going to need more purple space, so let's move this out of the way. Very neatly into the corner. Well, not the corner, but the wall. So take this green one over to the green section. This other blue one's in the way as well. You need to not be here. You back in here. Why does this office have a crane anyway? This is the logistics department. This is the logistics department, and also it's on the second floor of the building, which is pretty funny. Like, how did they get all of these giant fucking containers onto the second floor of their building? Imagine how much it must suck if you're in the finance department underneath this. Like, how loud must it be underneath the fucking crane floor? Just sit and try to do fucking spreadsheets and shit, and then it's just like, hey, I wonder what they're doing upstairs. Oh. Moving stuff again. Purple one over. Now the good thing is we have a nice clear route for all these now. Except this green one, actually, is kind of... I have a sneaking suspicion if I try and pick up that... fuck's that? Well, obviously we need to go pick that up. Oh, we can just pick up items like it's a crane game. That's pretty funny. Oh, we'll get that later. Right, let's take this one. Over to green one. Will the blue paint reduce how much green purple you need to sort? That's a good question. This is the blue paint, right? I don't know if I can use the green for this. You know, you might be on something. Hold on. Let's go test this theory. I mean, we're almost done anyway, but I'll go wait first actually. Let's go get these items that we've knocked over. I want this. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's like a royal cape, kind of cloak, kind of cape thing, and a sleepy hat, a bed hat. I don't know what they're called. No one actually wears these, right? It's not a real thing. Never been a real thing. I don't know. Can we not use it? Maybe that one's empty. Get off the bench. Yeah, I hope the paint works as well. I don't see a way to use it though, is the thing. But I think you're right. I think I'm just not. What are these wee ones? I only seem to be able to pick it up and put it down. That just seems to be water. It doesn't seem to be paint. I don't know. It looks like paint to me. I can't tip this one over. Let's try using the crane again. Maybe you can only tip over the crane. Also, what's in this box? Can we get into this box? No. The important thing is we got some nice new clothes. So I think this one might just be empty now because we already dropped it. Yeah. Let's try this one. Oh. Come on. Kinda... It can only move a certain amount. This is like... it like it's pushing it inside the box. One. Alright, it doesn't like that. Try this one. You know, I don't think the paint idea is gonna work. It's obviously not a thing to do. Definitely not me fucking it up. This big guy over here. Alright, perfect. Oh, I don't know what I broke that was expensive there, but I feel like this is gonna break. Yeah, I think it's not gonna work because I spilled it all. Did it? We're pretty good at this. At this rate, definitely gonna get another promotion. We only broke 110 things. Good job. I do love the way it just says good. I don't know if there's a way to like fail. Right, that's 201. Let's go 202. Let's not. I know 203 was closer, but let's do this in numerical order. There's one thing this person knows how to do, it's count. They might not know how to route cables properly, how to move projectors. The watch record's 1 hour 8 minutes. I bet they just smash through fucking everything. I need to watch that. I bet that's a fun speedrun. 1 hour actually seems a bit longer than I would have thought. I guess there's quite a lot of levels. I do love the art style of this though. Like they really nail that like isometric, like kind of workplace tutorial art style. Like the kind of workplace safety kind of things. Oh, this is gonna be a fun one. Right. Now, it looks to me like there's some clothing in this one because it has a coat hanger on it. And if there's something we like here, is clothing. You can say a lot of things about this Nepo baby's workplace abilities, but they are well dressed. Oh, this one, come on, go through the door. Alright, I just made it worse. Got to pivot it, pivot it. Oh, there we go. I don't know where I'm taking it. I just want to drop it off something. I don't really want to put it into the crusher. I don't think it needs that much, right? Oh, maybe it does. Pick up. You know, I wasn't really paying attention. Where's the entrance to the crusher? Oh, there's a crown over there. Right. Let's look around a bit. There's all this stuff. 1, 2, 3. Got some projectors. We've got what is this? Oh, got like a kind of aviator hat and goggles. Where do I actually put stuff in to go into the crusher? Because it comes in here. There must be like a other point for it. I feel like it showed us at the start and I just completely missed it because I wasn't paying attention. It's not up here. We can just tip all these over though. The thing we can do that this level gives us, which will be fun, is of course this. Right. I am, of course, forklift certified. Oh, even makes the... That's pretty good. That's a nice little touch. So we need... Let's try and knock this thing over. I need this down there so I can put it on the forklift. Oh, I can't move it at all. Does the forklift go up that high? Oh, it does. That forklift goes up way higher than I thought it would. Okay. Right. Still don't know where we're taking this, but you know, let's pick it up. Let's get going. That was already like that. We may have an issue now because this is upside down. No, it doesn't. The game doesn't care. That's good. I'm actually very glad that it doesn't care. Alright, let's get you through here. Let's get you through here. Let's... You know what? Oh no, it might be stuck. I'll be a bit lucky to close my eyes for a sec. No worries, Monica. This is a chill weekend stream after all. Perfect. Perfect. rotate. Let's get us through here. I don't know if it needs to go up there, but let's put it up there. I'm guessing we don't need... I'm guessing there isn't like another entrance to the crusher. We just need to go and lift it up with a forklift into there. The guy I worked with when did forklift training course to get their license, and his favourite thing was that he had to wear high-vis vests. Some guys were wearing camo shorts. Highly visible top camouflage. I thought that's the next you need. Okay, let's move this out of the way. Oh, no. I need to hit the button. You know what? You know what? Fine. You stay there. We'll just walk around. What I do need is some way to get us across here. So if we take this other forklift, we can make some kind of bridge. This probably. Oh, don't knock it over. I need it. Yes, Mark, I hope you feel better as well. Rest as much as you can. Hopefully it helps. Now, we finesse this. Perfect. Finesse. So hold the ally. He's got skills up. Yeah, well, we will probably raid into him pretty soon. This was gonna be a pretty short one. I mean, I have important things to get back to, like playing Alan Wake 2, which, if you haven't played Alan Wake 2, let me fucking tell you, probably my favorite game this year. One more, I think. This is what they teach you in forklift training courses to do. You need to move something, and then, you know, it's a bit awkward. You just fucking ram it. That's definitely what they teach you. Oops. Oh, I almost drove back off this. That would have been terrible. Yeah, we didn't even trash this. And there's our box from before. We'll just shove this across. And there we go, we've nailed it. Let's also put our clothing thing in there. Because why not? And that's us. Perfect forklift people. Oh, the clothing box did not want to go in there. The game did not like that I put that in there. Oh, and I accidentally hit. We didn't even see what it was. Oh well. Because I accidentally hit go back to lobby. That's fine. I like her pilot hat. Her pilot goggles. Yeah, I really like this game. It's so silly. There's not a lot to it, but it's, you know, it has fun with its mechanics. 21 workers, that's so many. We just need to put them in the middle. Oh, I see. Put them on these conveyor belts. There's so many, but you don't need to like move them all one by one, really. You as well. Come up with this conveyor belt. Imagine if you're just sitting on your lunch break and someone was like, actually it's time for a meeting, and then just chopped you on a conveyor belt. Just dragged your chair there. Hey buddies, I need There's a meeting happening. Guys, there's a meeting happening. Let me help get you there. Oh, I hope that would like pull them. This is an unhinged place. Yeah, but not. It's not the. It's not the nicest place to work, it seems. Unless, I guess, you're the boss's child. Ooh, a switch. The switch is at a dock. Look at that. Can we put it back in? Amazing. Look at this technology. Okay, I can't do it again though. It doesn't want to let me do it again. I replaced my aviator goggles with a different color of aviator goggles. You're already sitting, so you get go first. Oh wait, this doesn't even go anywhere. This one's useless. Can we make the... move this? Ah. Got the conveyor belt well plugged in. I was hoping I could block off this part of the conveyor belt so that people would automatically get launched into the other conveyor belt, but that seems maybe a bit complex for this game. But yes, let's see what happens if we do the thing you suggest. It will probably cause a mess, if I had to guess. Nope, get out of the way. Oh, I need to put it on up here. This one. Let's see what happens. All good so far. Going well. Oh, that was less exciting than I thought it would be. If we unplug it though. I need you to like sit on a box or something. I don't know what just got launched there. I don't know if that was even me. Right, you guys. Pick up a couple of your buddies. And you can all go sit here. Perfect. Let's see if we can get some more people that way. Oh, I guess I should have taken them on the front. That would have been a smart idea. Grab that guy. Oh, well, never mind. He got there in the end. Oh, these chairs are not comfortable anymore. Fine. You guys will join them in a minute. We just need to grab a few more friends. No? Oh, those ones don't go there. The crane stopped here. I see. Perfect. Oh, we missed one. That's pretty fun. Right. Suddenly a chair flies towards you and sucks you up. That one's going to get him there. You guys, you can stay sitting on this if you want. I wouldn't advise it. Perfect. I like the people down there are like moving packages around, putting them back on the conveyor belts. Right, we're missing like 3 more people. Oh, there they are. They're in there. Well, 2 of them are. Where's the 3rd one? So one of these guys isn't being counted? Let's see. Two guys here. Bit sleepy, so I'm gonna lurk now. You stream tonight? Not tonight. This might be the only time I stream this week, honestly. I've got... There's like a guy under there. What the fuck? I've got some stuff on this week, unfortunately. No sandwich. Perfect. I will be streaming more next week though. I do have a life, bloody average. Look, I got selected for jury duty. Did not want to, but cannot get out of it. So I'm busy all fucking week. So I can't do shit. Very annoying. And then I'm probably busy at the weekend, next weekend as well, unfortunately. It does suck. It means I need to sleep like normal times, because I need to be awake and pay attention. And commute. There's a special on Friday. I have to tidy a bit. Yeah, I actually have that as well. I have someone coming in to do to test the electrics on Thursday. So I need to tidy the lab bit for that. Then next week we're meant to be getting smart meters finally installed. We'll see how that goes. We were meant to get it done like a couple of weeks ago, but my girlfriend and I both got like really sick. So we're like, please don't come in. We don't want to subject someone to this. Then you're busy making a sandwich for an Australian bean. That's... I don't think that works. I mean, it's fine. It's like... It's just annoying. It's going to take a few days, but... It's fine. I was just hoping I wouldn't get back, but I was unfortunately not lucky. It's in the jury excuse handbook. But I do have next week off work. I'm going to try and do maybe a couple of longer streams. Oh wait, why am I doing this? I need to move this chair through this tiny door. This is doable. This is not doable. I don't know how to get this last guy. I need him to sit on something. Do we have any single chairs? I need a chair. Good night, Cashy. More streams? Yes, yeah, I'm gonna try. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's a busy time of year for me. That's fine. That was broken when we got here. But this stool though, this is what we need. I can feel about a door that's big enough for a chair set. Yeah, but then we need to carry like all the way around. I mean, I guess we could use the crane, but yeah. Oh, yeah, we would need to use the crane actually, because there's no... We need like one of these little kind of on-ramps to be able to put stuff on it. Right, you sit. Sit. Why are you so opposed to sitting? Is this not a chair? I thought it was a stool. Maybe it's like a little table. Sit. Turn. Okay. Smash your monitor. What do you think now? Oh, there's like so many chairs right here. I'm an idiot. Why is there this conveyor belt going all the way around? Because there's chairs there. Oh my god. I'm so stupid. There's literally just stacks of chairs there. I never really thought about why is there this big conveyor belt going through here when there's not really much use for it. It's so you can move chairs. Right, I'm not even gonna... You can just go. I'm out. I'm done. Deceased. Oh. That's us. We did a good job. Let's maybe finish this floor and then we'll call it. I think there's only 2 more on this floor. Like 1 more and then there's always like a kind of finale that's kind of teaches you or encourages you to use the things you've learned. And then we'll raid Mikey. What's Mikey playing today? Is he playing Dragon Age? I missed that whole chat. Oh no, there's only 1 more thing left. Okay, we'll do this. We'll do the finale and then we'll raid him. Loading. Oh, this looks complicated already. Load the packages. Oh, we have to put them in the truck. In the back of the lorry. Dragon Age, don't know what origin he got. I think Human Noble was winning when I looked. Which I'm kind of surprised about. Not that Human Noble's like a bad origin or anything, just... Not Circle Mage, one of the least interesting starting places. Yeah, the Circle Mage stuff I remember liking like at the time, but I've kind of soured on it. Alright, so we need to move stuff like this. There also doesn't seem to be like a lot of space in the back of this lorry. Oh, and it's so... There's no way to like lower it, you just have to drop stuff. That's pretty good. This game knows what it's doing. Right. So we need this guy. Okay, we need to knock that down. There's only 1 already down there. We need to... Let's go up here. This is the slowest lift. It's a plug. Nope, it's another socket. There's a door here. With something behind it. Door here we actually need to get through. Because there's a parcel through there. Let's very carefully rearrange these boxes to let us through. I was like that when we got here. Oh, I think we broke that. We'll see how that goes. That's fine. That's also fine. I think one of them survived. So, it's over here. Oh, there's one in here. Right. Oh, there's one over there. How are we going to get that one? Can't move this stuff. Can we get a forklift up here? Or is there another crane that's like higher up? Can we just bring this up here? Oh, we totally can. Perfect. Leave that there. We'll get that in a minute. Where's the one we dropped? This one's here. This game is smart. Oop. Nailed it. A lot of sockets and not a lot of actual plugs. There's another socket here as well. Put down the floor. This is the most complex one we've done yet. But we're like almost halfway there. Alright, there's a plug there. I kind of have an idea actually. Is there anything? I should use the crane, we can do this. So we do this. Nope, the other way. We pick up this. Is it a printer? Fax machine? Whatever this is. It's here. Okay, didn't need to put it on top of things, but it's fine. We stick this on the left next to the forklift. Over here, make some space. And we plug this into it. And we'll take the plug upstairs. Which I don't know how useful that'll be. But there's a lot of things we can plug, or we can plug into it here. Oh god, the forklift did not want to flame. We'll get it in a second. Let's do this first. It's like all tangled, it's fine. Then we do this. Fuck that wall. Problem solved. We got on your helmet. I think we do need this forklift though. Like we can't move some of the crates up here. No! No! God damn it. Back down. Who needs to power automatic doors? We just do that. Exactly. Honestly, I think we might be able to drive this forklift through this one anyway. Yeah. This is fine. Right. So what we need is some way to get that one over there. One up there as well. We might be able to just lift it across. Right, let's move this. Oh my god, that's not what I meant to do. They legitimately do teach you that in forklift training. Like, not do that. Okay, well, that's gone. Forklift training, you go, okay, don't do this unless you're cool. Probably. I've never done it. I'm not actually forklift certified. You might have realized this. I just knocked this over. Yes! Perfect. Also perfect. Alright, and we need to take this down as well. So let's just do this. Oh god. Oh god, it did not like me just doing that. Just like fucking perfect. I don't know how we reversed there, but I'm not going to question too much. Did that go into the lorry? Almost. Okay, let's go find those other two. They're over here. Just chuck them down there and we'll deal with it in a second. We need to power automatic doors, eh? Let's take a forklift down. Could use the crane for this, but I mean we have a forklift. Come on, win the thing. Hey, move the big boy. They're the same forklift, really. Just for the sake of racing it? Yeah, definitely. You can get air. Oh. Oh, you can do this. Oh, that's pretty cool. It's so funny that this is like a mechanic. They knew exactly what they were doing in this game. Oh, I'd like both the gas instead of the... Nailed it. By nailed it, I mean made things way worse. And not in a fun way. Right. You... Pick up anymore. Come on. Let me pick you up. There we go. Just get in the car. And we'll just manually move these ones. Because they're small enough. One more. A job well done. A good job, some might say. 10 minutes. We only caused 143 grand worth of damage. Only broke 113 things. That's pretty easy. Pretty straightforward. I think we nailed it. We did it smooth. Let's see what the next floor is. Just the name. And then we'll go raid Mikey. We've been promoted to floor 3. I'd also like it shows you when you go up to the levels. If we go here, it shows you like what clothing you can still collect in there. Like there's 2 tops and another hat in there we didn't pick up. If you ever want to go and collect everything, which I'm probably too lazy to do. Let's see what the next floor is. The next floor after logistics is recreation, which has a cinema and a swimming pool in it. What else does it have? Flower garden, cinema, swimming pool, and zen garden. You know, the recreation floor that every office has. I imagine you could do some pretty stupid stuff in that floor, especially the swimming pool one. Let's switch to this guy, which is a mess. It's a mess. It's showing some Fragile Dream stuff. Not even the actual last one, because I've not updated it. But that's fine. Thank you for joining me. I kind of figured since I hadn't streamed the last couple of days. Didn't do my usual Friday stream. And because I'm going to be busy with other stuff this week, I'm probably not going to get many, if any, streams in. Figured do we stream now. And I think it was pretty fun. We are gonna raid our old pal, Mikey. Or Manlon. As you may know the mass. They're currently playing Dragon Age. Wait, what? Why did that unread? Whatever. Right, we're raiding. Thanks for joining. Hope you all are enjoying your weekend. Enjoy the rest of it. A nice wee short stream. A quick hour of good job. This might be like my go-to, just, you know, I have a couple hours to spare, let's do a random little stream game as I start winding down Sonic R stuff and before I start really properly practicing Guilty Gear. If I have a wee few hours or a wee spare hour here and there to stream, maybe I'll play more of this because it seems really fun. We're almost already at the point that I stopped playing this game last time, and it wasn't 'cause I didn't like it or anything, it was just like, or it didn't even like get harder or anything, it was just, you know, other stuff came out. You know how it goes. Anyway, I'm gonna go do some housework and play way more Alan Wake 2. But also, I'm gonna watch some Mikey plays Dragon Age stuff. This Dragon Age game, one of my favorite games as well. One of my favorite series. So, let's go over there. Spam, I don't know, the dancing emote or something. Bye.